Along my baseball path, my career, I've met a ton of people. Been lucky to be influenced by a ton of people. Mr. Skowski coached me my last 2 years of high school, was a great influence on my life. Then I met Coach Maloney, which I'll get into that in a second. First thing I want to do is throw out some stats for you, okay? And then I'll move on. Coach for 22 years. He has 762 career wins. He's coached at Ball State for 12 years, and he coached at the University of Michigan for 10. So, good-sized program. He has 421 career wins at Ball State, which makes him the all-time winningest coach in Ball State's history. He has 221 wins in the Mid-American Conference. He's coached 6 MAC West Division titles. He has been the MAC Coach of the Year 3 times. He's won 4 MAC regular season championships. He was also the Big Ten Coach of the Year 2 years. He was the Big Ten Conference champions twice. They've had 4. He's been a part of or coached 4 NCAA regional appearances, and they've had 1 regional championship. So, with all that being said, that's like the minor part of Coach Maloney in my world. My first year at Ball State was 1993 and 1994. We won 17 games. Miserable. Second year, 94-95, we won 15 games. My junior year, Coach Maloney comes in. And when you talk about changing a culture, this was the biggest influence of my life as far as changing a culture. You win 32 games in 2 years. And when a new coach comes in, they bring in some players. But they don't revamp everything. I mean, it's what you have. You bring in a couple players. You bring in some freshmen. Coach Maloney, I think, brought in 2 junior college players my junior year. And just bringing in 2 players, bringing in an atmosphere, bringing in a change in the culture, within 1 year, we end up winning 32 games my junior year. So you're talking, we increased 17 wins in 1 year. And really the main thing that changed was coach. My senior year, we won 40 games, which I think at that time was a school record. Since then it's been broken, but that was a school record. And when you're talking 40 games, you're talking we went 40 and 19. So when I thought of leaders, Coach Maloney was the first person I really thought of in my life that has really made a big change. And you know, we're sitting outside talking. It's not just a change in my baseball world. It was you know, when we have a breakdown after baseball, what do we say? I got that from him. And so he'll talk a little bit about that, but you know, it's an honor to introduce Coach Maloney.
That was phenomenal. Thank you, Bruce, for that. It means the world to me. I'm honored to be here with you guys today. Leadership's a passion of mine. Mentoring is my, if I have a gift, that's my passion. I got into coaching because I want to mentor kids. It's not about the wins and losses. I think those take care of themselves. You do the right things, you work really hard, these traits I'll give you, but the bottom line is I'm trying to make a difference in people's lives. We all have an opportunity to do that, but that's my passion. So my goal is to add value to as many people as I possibly can. I learned that it's not something significant that I just all of a sudden drummed up. It doesn't make me extra special or anything, but the fact of the matter is my mom and dad raised me with really good values. And I had coaches who influenced my life, and because of those coaches, I decided to be like them. And so I've tried to carry on what they've given to me. They breathed into me, and I try to breathe into others. So hopefully today you'll pick up a few things that'll add to your knowledge here, and hopefully something that will stir your passion. But you need to find your passion. Passion's where it's at. When you're in your passion area, you're going to excel. So whatever you do for a career and such, find something that when you wake up in the morning, you're off and running. That's what I do. Every single morning I get up, I'm excited. So coaching isn't a job to me. isn't a job. My dad told me that he was a machinist for 35 years and hated his job. He did his job every day, 12 hours a day, many days, standing on his feet doing the same monotonous job every day. And lo and behold, he figured out. He said, son, I don't care how much money you make, but do something that you're passionate about. So I thank my dad for that, because that's what I've done. Okay, successful leadership traits, vision. Great leaders have vision. Vision. They set the table for the rest of the group. So a great example of that is there's a movie called Miracle on Ice. You guys, this is dating you guys, but if you ever get a chance to see it, if you haven't seen it, it's about the USA 1980 Olympic hockey team. Herb Brooks was the coach. Okay, he wanted this job desperately. The Russians had won 5 straight gold medals. So over a 20-year period, the Russians had dominated hockey in the Olympics. The Russians had their players were men, so they weren't playing in the NHL. They were playing in for Russia hockey, and they'd only play really to win the gold medal in the Olympics. The way the Olympics were set up back then was that they were all college kids. So you're talking about some of the best hockey players in the world in Russia that are grown men that basically in communism had to win the gold medal. That's what was expected of them. And then you had here this group of young men who were trying to beat these Russians. So Herb Brooks' vision was this: we are going to beat Russia at their game. So in other words, we're going to play hockey the way Russia plays hockey. Nobody in their right mind would try to take a group of college people and play the same game, which was different than the American hockey game, and really think they were going to be able to beat the Russians. But Herb Brooks was a visionary, and that's what great leaders are. He had an idea. He had a plan. And he sold the plan to become the coach. So they picked him as the coach. Normally, there's a committee of people that pick the players that get to be in the game and play for the USA. Herb Brooks one day picked all his team for reasons different than what the committee would have. The committee would have taken the best player from Boston College, the best player from Minnesota, the best player from the University of Michigan, or what have you. Herb Brooks took players that would fit the system that he was going to play to try to beat the Russians. He had great vision. So during the course of time, the story goes, and you can watch this movie, and I highly recommend it if you've never seen it. Watch it. As the story goes, they're at a crossroads, they're getting ready for the Olympics, and his team hasn't pulled together as a group yet. And he had to get them to pull together. So what he did is he got them after a game, he made them do skating sprints. And he said, again! 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 And these kids were throwing up. They were sick. They were tired. They already played a game. The trainer was concerned that someone might die. The assistant coach was upset at Herb Brooks because he was worried about the health of the team. But here's what the method to Herb Brooks' madness was this. He had to get the guys to pull together and understand who they were playing for. Because they're all great players from these different colleges, but now they were no longer those, they were just representing the college, but they were representing bigger than the college. They were representing the United States. So finally, he broke them down to where they finally said, who do we play for? We play for the USA. As irony would have it, the greatest, probably, sports moment in history could be argued when these college kids beat the famous Russians and beat them fair and square and then won the gold medal. Herb Brooks cast a vision. So as a leader, you have to cast the vision and you got to get people to believe in that. So the motto that Bruce uses here is the motto I've used both at Michigan, both times at Ball State, because all 3 times I had to build programs that were losing programs into winning. So it's my responsibility to cast a vision and get people to buy into the vision. That's what Herb Brooks did. That's what leaders do. You got to believe. You got to believe in yourself. You got to believe in your teammates. You got to believe in your coaches. You got to believe in the system. You got to believe that you can take the program to higher heights. It all starts with that if you want to be successful. That's what leaderships do. Number 2, work hard and then some. If you want to be great at anything, you got to work hard. You got to put in the time. Leaders understand this. Leaders understand this because they put in the time. You know what I'm doing right now? My teams have always, and Bruce knows this because I've always gotten the boys up early in the morning to do their conditioning. So when everybody else was sleeping, we were up early. Bill's team, okay? But guess what? So at 5:45 in the mornings, my team's lifting weights while most everybody else is sleeping. We've been doing this for 22 years. A lot of other people caught on since. Most people don't want to do that, okay? But here's the deal. At 5 in the morning, I'm working out. 5:45, I go work out with my team. That's not to brag on me. What it is I got to demonstrate and model, work hard, and then some for my players. That's how you get by. Okay? At 211 degrees, water's hot. 211 degrees, water's hot. But it's still, it's dead. It's just wet. At 212 degrees, water boils. When water boils, it creates steam. If you boil enough water, you can create enough steam that you can move a locomotive. But at 211, you got nothing. And at 212, that extra degree makes all the difference. That extra degree is the difference between winners and losers. That's it. Can you push yourself enough to work hard enough to acquire whatever it is you're after? That's the challenge. That's just effort. Everybody can give that effort. But most people won't. Most people won't go the extra mile. But if you want something bad enough, you've got to work hard and then some. You have to have the extra degree. 212. There's a little book that I got that from. It's about that big. You can get it. It's outstanding reading. Number 3, leadership trait.
All right, the east side is still on, and Mr. Pekowski, please report to the office.
Leaders have great energy. Okay? You got to bring your energy every day. Some days it's hard. It's hard. Things are going on in our lives. It's hard to bring the energy. But when we get at the field, as the leader, I got to bring energy every day. Okay? There's a great book called The Energy Bus. It's written by John Gordon. He has several good reads. The Hard Hat's another one. 21 great ways to be a great teammate. Okay? But The Energy Bus is about a story of a guy, George, who's going to lose his job. He's downtrodden. He's bummed out. Life's kicking him in the teeth. He's negative. He's struggling. So he gets a flat tire. He's getting ready to get fired from his job. He gets a flat tire. And he has to take the bus to work because no one's around to take him to work. So he hops on a bus, and actually by divine appointment, there's a person who's driving the bus called Joy. Joy is what we call an energy giver. Joy is a positive person, a person that everybody wants to be around. When you're in Joy's presence, you're uplifted.
Excuse me, candidate, please come to the office.
Okay? Now George, remember, he's an energy vampire. So what he does is he sucks the energy out of people. And you all know people like that. You all know people like that. Okay? Unfortunately, they pull you down. They pull you down. You want to be the person like Joy who lifts somebody up. So what Joy's influence on George changed his life. So he went from an energy vampire to an energy giver. Leaders have great energy. Leaders have great energy. So they inspire the people that they're underneath. They inspire and do great things. And as a leader, it's great fun to watch those people that you're mentoring grow and do great things. That's the great joy. So, vision, work hard, and then some, great energy. Number 4, surround yourself with good people. You got to get this one right. You can't make a mistake on this one. Okay? So if your parents are telling you that you shouldn't be hanging around with so-and-so and you know you should be, you ought to listen, because it can change your life. Okay? Good people are going to raise you up. They're going to make you better. They're going to challenge you. They're going to raise the bar. Okay? Those energy vampires, if you surround yourself with bad people, they're going to suck you down. They're going to say, you can't make that dream that you have. You don't have a chance for that. But good friends, what they're going to do is say, go for it. You can do it. Surround yourself with good people. Very, very important. In my life, I've surrounded myself with great people on my staff throughout my career. And they make me better than I am. Many of them are out head coaches and assistants at bigger programs across the country, and that's just a great joy to see them realize their own goals and dreams. Number 5, attitude. This may be the most important thing in our lives, is our attitude. You get to actually choose your attitude. There's 2 things that you can control, in my opinion: your attitude and your effort. Doesn't matter what your talent level is, doesn't matter what kind of skill you have. You can control your attitude and effort. Okay? So you have to decide when you wake up in the morning if you're going to have a good attitude. You might be kicking your teeth, man. You might have just failed the test, or you might have had something going on at home that's not so good. But you got to decide. You get a choice to fight your way through that and have a good attitude. Okay? Now, here's a little poem that they have about attitude, and I really like this. I share it all the time. The longer I live, the more I realize the impact of attitude on life. Attitude to me is more important than facts. It's more important than the past, than education, than money, than circumstances, than failures, than successes, than what other people think or say or do. It is more important than appearance, giftedness, or skill. It will make or break a company, a church, or a home. The remarkable thing is what we will embrace for that day. We cannot change our past. We cannot change the fact that people will act a certain way. We cannot change the inevitable. The only thing we can do is play on the one string we have. That is our attitude. I am convinced that life is 10% of what happens to me and 90% how I react to it. And so it is with you. We are in charge of our attitudes. That was from Chuck Swindoll. So for me, it all starts with a positive attitude. Surround yourself with people with positive attitude. Number 6, leaders have an ability to be able to share this model right here. Teamwork makes the dream work. That's from John Maxwell, another favorite author of mine. Teamwork makes the dream work. You have to learn how to be a great teammate. You have to learn how to work together. Okay? There's great joy when you accomplish something, when you work together towards a common goal and you accomplish it. I'll give you an example. So for me as a coach, I tell my teams this all the time. Okay, I've been part of 7 championship teams in my career, and many like division championships beyond that. But with that being said, the moment for a coach is to watch his players or her players celebrate on the field in that special moment where they accomplished something that they worked so hard for. So there's a moment you put all of this hard work just to stand there, and as a coach, I'm sitting in the dugout watching my players celebrate. When we get our championship rings, They're really big nowadays, they make them, and they're cool. They're only worth like $275. They're not really that big a deal. Okay, but here's what I see in a championship ring. I don't see the ring as like, even though it's big and all that, you know, it's material. What I see is the players that made that happen. When you play in a championship team, you're never, ever, there's a bond that's so tight. I'll give you an example. Our 207 Michigan Big Ten Championship, Big Ten Regional, regional championship as well, the NCAA almost made it to the World Series. We had our 10-year reunion just 2 weeks ago. So if we had 30-some-odd, there's 35 players on our team by NCAA rules, and we had 30-some-odd players there. There's a bond there that's special when you work so hard together and you accomplish something that you never forget the rest of your life. It is extraordinary. But it comes from being part of a team. Being part of a team. Your job as being part as athletes is to be the best teammate that you could possibly be. I highly recommend coaches the book The Hard Hat. It's one you can take these kids through. 21 ways to be a great teammate. We took our whole team through it. We talk about it. It's part of our culture now, and it's a really good stuff. I had a couple of guys that can use examples of great teammates. But probably the greatest example is the greatest player we ever had. His name was Brian Bullington, and he was the first player picked out of Ball State, the #1 player picked in the entire baseball draft. Think of that. The #1 player pick. Well, in his last week of playing at Ball State, he's in the Mid-American Conference tournament, and he gets shelled. He pitches the worst game that he ever pitched, and he lost 13-3. Our team had a in the Pittsburgh Pirates, who owned the #1 pick in the draft that was coming up in another week or two after that. They had their whole brass there. They had the whole front office was there to see one boy, and that was Brian. And he pitches his worst game. Now we come through the losers bracket, and with 2 days, we got through the losers bracket, and we're on championship day, and we have to win 2 games. Brian Bullington comes up to me and he says, "Coach," it brings tears in my eyes. I might drop them right now. He said, "Coach, I need to pitch tomorrow." And I said, "Brian, there's no way that I can pitch you. You have a chance. You're going to get anywhere from $1.5 to $4 million, and I'm not pitching." Now, mind you, we don't have much pitching left, so our chance of winning without him pitching is not very good. Brian says, "Coach, you don't understand that I can't end my career with these teammates, these players, these brothers of mine, the way I did. I let them down." So he wasn't thinking about the money. He wasn't thinking about being the #1 player picked. He was thinking about his brothers. Think about that. How many people are going to risk over $1 million to pitch? Because if he throws in that game, he had already thrown 80-some-odd pitches. He pitches 2 days later, he blows out his arm, and he loses all. So his mom and dad, and this is the way they raised him. His dad was a great athlete in our Hall of Fame at Ball State, baseball and basketball player. His mother was a swimmer. They raised him to be a great teammate. Great teammate. So the greatest player we ever had was probably the greatest teammate we ever had, too. Ironic. So what ended up happening is Mary and Larry came up to me and they said, "Hey, Coach, we never say anything about how you coach the team and anything like that." They never got me. They're ideal model parents. And they said, "If you want to pitch, Brian, if you think he can help the team, then pitch him. And if he gets hurt, it's on us." So they were willing to risk all of that. Think about it now. If you get $4 million, you set your family up and your grandkids and your kids after that up if you handle it. But they were willing to give it all up. So I told Brian, I said, Brian came up to me 2 different times. I said, "I can't do it. In my conscience, I can't do it." But he pressured me so much, I finally said to him, I said, "Okay, Brian, if that's really how you feel, then you run down to the bullpen in the game and you raise your hat, and I'll put you into the game, but I'm against it." I'm not for it. I don't want to win at all costs. It's not worth it to me. But if this is what you want to do, it's your call. We're winning 6-3. There's bases loaded. It's only the third or fourth inning. We got to win 2 games. He runs down to the bullpen. He goes like this, waves his hand. I put him in. The kid pitched 6 1/3 innings, finished the game, struck out 9. He was throwing 95, 96 miles an hour on 2 days rest. To me, the greatest example of a teammate because he was willing to sacrifice for the benefit of his brother. So he got it. No wonder why he's the number 1 pitcher. Another quick one is Matt Fisher. Well, I'll use Seth Balta. I got 2 others, but I'll use one due to time. Seth Balta, he was the guy who caught the bullpens every day. Every day he's in the bullpen, and he just catches. Thankless job, never gets to play. He's the bullpen catcher. But every day he comes with a smile on his face. Every day he shakes those pitchers' hands after he does his bullpen, after they do their bullpen. And every day he tries to be like another coach, just encouraging the team. The guys end up loving him because he was selfless. Selfless. He's the 35th man on a 35-man roster. He got 7 at-bats the entire year. He caught at least 2 hours of bullpens nearly every single day. That's not fun, but it was fun for him because he had a great attitude. I told Seth Balta, I said, Seth, if you want to be a CEO of a company, I believe you can be a CEO of a company without question. Because you know how to serve. You're a servant leader. You got a gift, extraordinary gift. You're willing to do whatever it takes, even the smallest menial task. And it adds value to the team. So you figured it out. So, being a great teammate is important. Teamwork does make the dream work. Whatever role you're given on a team, be the best you can be in that role. We need all 35 players to be successful on our baseball team. So whether you're 35 or you're number 1 like Brian Bullington, we need them all because they all contribute. That makes us stronger. So be a great teammate. The last thing I got is this. Don't settle. Don't settle. Write that down. Don't settle. The world's going to tell you that mediocrity is okay. Why? Why do you want to be mediocre? Why do you want to be mediocre? Each one of you have a gift of some sort. You've got to find that gift and go for it to the best of your ability. Mediocrity is not part of your language. Don't let it be part of it. Don't let somebody tell you can't do something. If you have a dream, go for it. Here's what we always do. We shoot high and we might fall a little bit. So shoot high, and if you fall a little bit lower, you're still better than most. Get the most out of what you have. That's all anybody can ask for. And that's not mediocre. If you did the best that you can possibly do with the gifts you've been given, then you're not mediocre. So make that a point. Now here's the last story, and then that's it. Dale Earnhardt, famous race car driver. Ned Yost, famous baseball coach, Kansas City Royals. A couple years ago, they won the World Series. Ned was one of my coaches, actually. Strike shortened season. Dale Earnhardt and Ned Yost are friends. Dale Earnhardt says to Ned Yost, he says, why don't you come and be part of my pit crew the last month of the races? They're racing to win the Winston Cup Series. Okay? So Ned's a kid in the candy store. He's so happy, man. He's going to be at all these races. He's going to be in the pit. He's living a dream, man. And Dale's competitive as all get out. So it's really cool. So here's the gist of the story. During the last race, they got to finish 5th or better. And they win the Winston Cup. So they're going through the race. They get down to the last. They're getting down to the last so many miles. I'm not a racing guy, so I could be off just a hair, but this is just the story. They're running the race. And the crew chief is talking to Dale over. Hey, Dale, don't push it. You're sitting in great position. We got this thing about locked up. Just don't push the car in. About a little minute later, Dale says, hey, he starts flying around. So he's going faster and faster. And the crew chief says, Dale, don't push it. We got this thing locked. And Dale says, tell those guys in the pit crew I'm coming in, man. And they changed my tires and get me all suited up. And the crew chief says, no, don't push it. The car might break down. Don't. Dale gets mad and he comes in. They put the tires in the car. Now, he's sitting like in 7th or 8th place. And all of a sudden, he starts kicking it in gear with the new tires and everything. And the crew chief keeps telling him not to do it. So now all of a sudden he climbs. He's starting to get better and better and better, moving up the food chain. Okay. Now he's playing to win. Now he's risky that he might blow up that car. And that's what the crew chief was telling him. But Dale Earnhardt always plays to win. So he goes and he runs the race. They win the Winston Cup and they win the race. Now you think he'd be happy, right? I think he'd be happy. He just won the race. He won the Winston Cup too. He won them both. He gets out of the car and he is flaming mad. He is yelling at his crew because they were willing to do what? Settle. Settle for 5th place. You are not a member of Dale Earnhardt's racing team if you think 5th place is acceptable. That was the whole point. Okay? If they would have finished 5th, maybe that would have been okay. They would have won the Winston Cup. But you always try to be the best that you can be. Dale Earnhardt's team, their standard was to be the champion. So they try to win every race. They run in a way to win the prize. So with that being said, don't settle. Don't settle for mediocrity. Don't let somebody kick your dream away. Go for it. You shoot high, you'll fall. If you fall a little low, you're still better than most. So the 7 traits are very simple. Vision. Work hard and then settle. Use a 212 degree. Remember, 211 it's hot, 212 it boils. We create steam, we can move a little more. 3, bring great energy. Leaders bring great energy. 4, surround yourself with good people. Stay away from those who have stinking thinking. Okay? 5, a great attitude. You can control your attitude and effort. 6, teamwork makes the dream work. Okay? 7, don't settle. Ending it all, you got to believe in yourself, your teammates, your coaches, and you got to believe. You got to believe. Hope you have a great day.